everybody.
Everyone.
How is everyone doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. How is everyone out there in YouTube land doing?
I'm good. Hold on. I
Had
feel
a
like
good
I'm on a
weekend.
delay. All right. That's better.
Did the
Can
family-
everybody
I was on a delay.
You're a little low, Brooklyn, but I can hear you, but you're a little low. Well, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, yeah? Okay. Hi, Mel. Cousin Joe. Hi, Ruth Ann. Hey, Sheila. Hey, Barbie. Hey, Ellie. Thanks for being a member for so long. Let's see. Hey, Linda S. Thanks for coming back to be a member. Ruth Ann, what's up? Catherine. Susie Q. Not my real name. Betty Boo. Mel B. J Freak. Rita. Phoebe. And MTT, and there we are. And that's it. That's
Is that
easy.
you?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can now.
Wonderful.
Ah. I believe she's driving home.
I'm home.
Woohoo!
So I guess let's get into
Let's do
last
this.
night's season finale. And by the way, I do have the chat set on members. So if you want to chat, it's like 99 cents. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing that. I think I'm probably going to drop that whole tier altogether, to be honest with you. So I don't know how much longer the 99-cent tier is going to stay around.
Yeah.
It's I'll probably delete it after this live, to be honest with you. So if you want to become a member, there's a link and you could join it, or you can't, and that's it. So let's get into the live, and then we'll talk about this amazing season finale to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. What? Yes, Brooklyn, go.
I don't like that word. It was not amazing.
What?
Nothing about this was amazing.
Yeah. I think over.
Well, I mean, it all ended how we all assumed it was going to end. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
DJ, Paradise.
Totally underwhelming.
Yes. I mean, it had its moments, but yeah, let's get there. All right, let me start up this. Okay.
I also forgot to say hi to the two people who are in my chat. BB
Hello,
from VA,
and welcome.
and Miss Catherine is in there. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, the fight was mild.
Not fast.
Yeah,
I
true.
mean, the season was cut short, like it always is every season with Jersey. Somehow, every other season of Housewives gets like 20+ episodes, but Jersey's always like, here's like a handful and good luck. So
Yep.
It almost felt like they're like, okay, your trip got canceled because the place burned down. I guess they didn't want to go anywhere else with them, but we're gonna use this. And it just seemed like it at that point, Bravo realized, okay, this isn't gonna get any better, so we're done.
I think this whole entire show gave everybody agita from day one to where we are right now.
What is agita?
There was no trip, and Bravo was like, let's just call it a day. And
she
cut
said,
this.
"What is agita?" It makes you. It's like it gives you
Anxiety.
It makes you like anxiety. Yeah, it makes you nauseous. Like never did I watch this season thinking, "Oh, I'm so into this right now." I couldn't. It was that bad. I see why they cut it.
Yeah.
Well, we were around for the first few episodes. It started off strong, and then it did fizzle.
Total fizzle job.
it did fizzle. You know, OC started off really well. I'm like, I hope they don't do this with Jersey,
Yeah.
but OC's been like holding it, you know, and keeping people's attention. Jersey, it kind of fizzled, and it kind of got interesting again, like the last couple of weeks. And here we are.
We are. And I have to say one thing: Teresa looks horrible. This is the worst I think I've seen her look. She's
very stressed. She's not eating.
Well, or on Ozempic, one or the other.
It could be both.
She's really going through it
horrible.
these days.
She looks so old. I thought she was in a love bubble, and I don't know what bubble she's in, but she doesn't look good at all.
Apparently, it's not the OC bubble where they still spend money even though they're going bankrupt.
None of the housewives actually ever go bankrupt, Wicked. It's not a thing.
But you know, it's like
do the research, girl. They don't ever really go bankrupt. The check waiting for every one of them.
Yeah.
Yes, if you haven't watched the episode yet, or if you watched it last night on Bravo, I watched it on Bravo last night, and I watched it again before this, you know, before we went live, and I watched it on Peacock. Peacock is uncensored. You hear the C word, the F word, the T word, words that haven't been invented yet. You hear it all. So
all the words in my vocabulary.
Well, you know me. You know, I'm trying to be PG-13 about this. So, but they said every word on the Peacock Uncensored, which was more amazing than. I mean, we all knew what they were saying last night. If we were watching it on Bravo, we knew what they were saying. But you know, there's always like that little when you hear it, it's like ooh, you know.
So much better.
So pretty much that. Or not. Hey, Anna. Hey, MW. And they're all on Ozempic pretty much. You know, Dolores, I think, was the only one that copped to it. You know, and did I see Jen Aydin in the house with the kids? Can we just talk about that for a second? Isn't that gross a little bit? Well, Jen Aydin is doing her damnedest to be on Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever. And we know, you know, Jen's shape was a lot more.
She admitted to it.
Right. And then like she has her kids there and then she's acting like this. I don't know. I keep saying like, you know, so when is she going to put the kids on it? Or is that like, oh, John, you can't say that. That's crossing the line. I'm wondering when, because she's so shallow.
Listen, she made a TikTok yesterday that was nauseating at best. She was in, who saw it? She was in Dolce & Gabbana. And she bought her 11-year-old daughter an $1,800 pocketbook and then said, you know, because we got it like that. And she walked around Dolce & Gabbana and she's like, I probably will get 2 of those because that's just how I shop. It was like, I don't know if she was trying to do it on purpose, but
is this a show?
No, this was her own private. She is obnoxious at best.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why she'll never be Heather Dubrow, because Heather Dubrow knows how to like flash her money and be like, yeah, this is mine. And don't you love it? And, you know, Jennifer's like, oh, but look, I have the 18 bedrooms and I have all this money. Like, don't forget about me. And then she thinks that gives her license to be like, you know, obnoxious about it, but nobody cares, Jen, because you like Danielle put it at the end, you live in an empty house and you cry yourself to sleep every night. We all knew Jen. We all know that Jen does.
Danielle's my new superhero.
She is.
Yeah, she was excellent.
I couldn't stand Danielle last season, and she went from rags to riches in my books.
Oh, 100%.
Same. And I watched her old episode on MTV when they followed her from Staten Island in California. Did you see that when she was 17?
Yeah, and then she was the Britney Spears and all that.
Yes. Love it.
Danielle's been trying to make a name for herself for a long time. So congratulations that she finally got it. I really hope they don't reboot the show because I'll never watch it again, just like New York. I won't watch it.
Me too. I'm with you.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I was saying that to my husband. I said, I don't want them to because I love it. I think they could just take off Teresa.
And notice how they put it in black and white, like, like, they showed them in black and white, like, oh, it's the last days of this, like,
I just get rid of Teresa and
she's got to go. Her time is up. Es finito. Let's go. Let's get on with it.
100%. Just be done with it, and then everyone will start. Because I would like to see what Jen Aydin would be like minus Teresa.
I do too. I kind of think that maybe needs to happen, but I don't want her to stick around. Jen drives me nuts. Just her, especially when she gets some liquor in her. She's yeah,
me
crazy.
Jen is too cavalier without like the like you can be cavalier, but with Jen it just comes off as just it's yucky.
Yeah. Hers comes off as obnoxious, where Heather Dubrow comes off as, I'm gonna say maybe entitled, but yeah, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's a class factor. Don't know.
She's got class. I don't like her, but she's got class.
No, I love Heather. And Heather, Heather can be like, oh, look at me, I have all this money. I'm like, we do. And I'm like, okay, you do. But like when Jen does it, it just doesn't read the same way. It's Jen, Heather, here's the difference. Heather flashes her money around and her wealth, but Heather doesn't do it in a way to be hurtful. Jen does it to be hurtful.
It reminds me of someone with new money versus old money. Old money, you don't do that. Where new money, you're flashing the $100 bills, you're balling.
And Jen forgets that the only friend she's had is Teresa. And had Jen not been up Teresa's ass for like the last 7-8 seasons, Jen would have been off the show long ago. Where's Danielle Stout?
That's right. I agree.
So there's that. And the reason why I really didn't like Danielle last season because she came on as a new Teresa flunky because she was a new girl and she was trying to find her footing. And I'm happy that Danielle worked it out with Rachel and Margaret and pretty much everybody because Danielle saw what was really happening. But let's get to the show. All right, so the episode starts at Margaret's house, and they say it's in the morning, but I feel like it's like right after Teresa's event.
Right. 100%.
I'm not quite sure. Did Dolores come over right after Teresa's event?
It was after.
But they're saying it's like, it's the morning. I have the cronuts and like the breakfast food. So, but then, my thought it was.
Yeah, like a brunch. Margaret was doing like a brunch thing.
I don't know.
It's more of a brunch thing than a early breakfast. I don't know.
I don't know, but it looked good. I kind of wanted to try a cronut.
You never had a cronut?
No.
They're weird.
So good, Addi.
Oh.
It really is a croissant and a donut. And Margaret tells Margaret tells Jen Fessler about the wreath. They have a laugh at it. While that's happening, Dolores calls her, I'm going to swing by. And, Dolores comes by to explain what Teresa's whole meeting was about, that she's been getting it through the ex and it's been years and her life is miserable and she's lost all this weight and she can't eat and whatever else is wrong with Teresa. And then
Louie is what's wrong with Teresa.
Yeah. And the sad thing about Teresa is that I think Teresa already knows at this point is that she picked the wrong card with Louie, but Teresa will never admit it.
Absolutely.
You know what? I don't know, John. I don't know if she does. I really don't. I really think she thinks it's everybody else and not him.
No, I think there's been a lot of rumors out there that Louie's spending all her money. I mean, it's been put out there.
She said black and white that if she was gone tomorrow, he's got more money than her. She said it several times.
And who believes that?
Not me, but
when Louie has this big booming business, but then he had to fire Dolores' son that was working for him, and then wasn't there another kid who had some issue with Louie's business?
Right.
So Frankie Jr. was working for Louie, right, and then that stopped.
There's a story there.
So
Yeah,
Brooklyn, you're breaking up. Just so you know, you're breaking up pretty bad.
I'm gonna come in and out.
Okay. But MW thinks it was just a different day because
thank you, Mel B, for the Cash App.
Because Dolores is wearing a different outfit. But
I'm not quite sure if it was like I don't know. It made it feel like it was like the morning to me, but then Jen Fester was drinking wine and complaining about it. She's like, this red wine's horrible, but if it's the morning, I can't see Jen Fester being there drinking red wine and complaining about it. Like, you know what? Let me just use a lifeline here. Hold on. Where's my phone?
good thing you're wearing a lifeguard shirt.
Well, I had to wear the classic Yates red, and then since it is a Seaside Heights Shore shirt, I had to wear it. All right, so then Dolores asks Margaret about listen, did you talk to her? And Margaret comes clean in some regard and says, did I not? I wasn't talking to her at the beginning, but I started talking to her after
the reunion. Is what she said.
Right. And after Laura, right?
Right. It was after Laura and after the reunion. She reached out to this woman, because it's like someone else we know. All this stuff is happening, and she's like, "Am I crazy?" And she finds out she's not crazy.
And she was also trying to counteract with the Bo Dietl stuff,
right.
And Louie was very vocal about Bo Dietl and look at this big manila folder I have, and so how? I don't know. I don't know.
What I didn't understand is why Dolores, why are you talking to her? But it's like,
Thank you, Fire Knife.
Thank you, Fire Knife.
Woohoo, thank you.
Keep those super chats coming. I'm on panel,
and they're all for her.
Sorry.
And I felt like Dolores was just overly upset that Margaret was even entertaining a conversation with this woman. And it just why? How dare you? But it's like, Teresa and her aren't besties.
Because there's more that went on there.
And it's just a weird edit. That's
wicked. There's a long history there between.
Oop. We lost her.
I'll say between Margaret and Dolores, Margaret and Teresa. Let's not forget that Teresa was behind Danielle style pulling her hair and with all that
long history.
Right.
If I were Margaret, I would have talked to her too. I mean, shit.
You guys
if she's
know
trying
why
to.
Dolores got that upset though?
No.
I saw right through that scene, because for Margaret to say, "I told you to come," that means Dolores knew about it knew what they were doing, and then had to go explain to Teresa that she was aware of the situation. And there's something there with her son. Do you see on Watch What Happens Live? She said that Frank really doesn't talk to Louie and Teresa. If they see each other, they'll speak. I'm telling you, there was a problem there. And Dolores does not want it brought up, and she doesn't want it to kill her relationship. She called her to see you next Tuesday.
Like, and she said that like right out the gate,
That was Patterson Dolores out the gate.
Margaret, was saying to her, I invited you, off the cuff, and Dolores out of nowhere says, "You lying, see you next Tuesday."
You knew why, John, right? You got that.
Because I'll tell you why. I believe and I love both Dolores and Margaret.
I believe Margaret.
I love them both.
I believe Margaret.
It reminded me of when when Dolores blew up at Danielle Staub. Like when Danielle first came back on the show, 7 or 6 years ago as a friend when they brought her back. And Danielle was saying that, me and Dolores had come by my house, and Dolores was warning me about Teresa, saying, don't get involved. And then when Danielle repeated that, you got the same exact reaction out of Dolores. I haven't seen that side of Dolores since then. I'm like, ooh.
And there are big things that you would think she react that way, and she doesn't. There are times when you're like, oh, Dolores should freak out right now, and she says nada. But when she thinks that something's coming out that makes her look bad to Teresa or one of her old friends, she bugs, her eyes bug, and she freaks out. That's it.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure who to believe. Maybe Margaret didn't tell that to Dolores because, she knew that Dolores was friends with Teresa and she didn't want to put Dolores in that spot. But when Dolores reacted that way and straight out the gate, she's in Margaret's house and she got a cronut and she got some schmear on it or whatever. And she goes, "You lying, see you next Tuesday." And I was like, that's too much for Dolores to react that way right away.
And I thought it was interesting that Dolores was she said it offhandedly, but then it was yeah, thanks for not inviting me. Almost hey, thanks for, hey, thanks not.
Yeah, it gave me off the hook.
Versus you didn't invite me. Thank you.
Thank you, MW.
Oh, thank you, guys.
I'm like, why is this so much deeper than
I'm telling you what?
I'm like,
hands down.
Does it make it look like she picked a side, maybe? Because
no, not about picking a side.
But you chose
Dolores
not to.
Has been friends with Teresa since grade school.
Yep.
So whenever Dolores
seems like an awful lot, though.
And maybe, and I do believe Dolores to some extent, Margaret's listen, I told her, maybe we heard two different versions of it, but
maybe it wasn't clear.
Margaret would lie to Dolores like that, saying you weren't invited, because Margaret has to realize, thinking numbers, why would I lie to Dolores's face and lose her? I don't know. To me, it made it, it just reminded me of when Dolores freaked out about what Danielle said to her about Teresa. And it was the same literal reaction. Dolores lost her crap like that. It was just that fast.
What she said in the confessional. Oh, okay. Now I see what Margaret will do for friendship. It's what are we missing? And maybe that was it, that, she felt a certain type of way about being called, a liar. And no, you didn't invite me. Yes, I did. No, I didn't.
And it could have been that easy. Margaret might have invited her off the cuff. We're doing this thing at my house, come over. And maybe Dolores didn't remember it that way. Or maybe, Margaret didn't explain it in full. And there's that level, because I love Dolores, and I don't even want to be talking ill of her at all, because.
But then I think Margaret's trying to tell her, okay, you were out with Jennifer and Teresa, and she's like, oh, I wouldn't care if I was at the gynecologist. And it's like, okay, you're out with them. I mentioned it,
But the way, also Margaret explained it, she was like, well, you said, you wouldn't do that to her. And I believe that, because that's something Dolores would say, well, I'm not going to go because obviously I'm friends with her and I can't be there. But then you were there at Teresa's for the Margaret shaming. But then Dolores has been friends with Teresa her whole life and not Margaret. I mean, it's a very complex situation.
Yeah.
So
I felt like it was kind of like she didn't get the invite, like the way she said, you didn't say it this way. You didn't, I think that's what John was saying, is that I think it was in the way it was presented to her. She didn't feel like it was an invite directed, whatever
the miscommunication was, Addi, I'm telling you, that's why she got upset, because she didn't want it to be associated with the fact that she knew about what they were doing.
Right. And at least, and if there was a different edit, I could, but for Dolores to listen to that and go from 0 to you're a lying, see you next Tuesday, in the next breath, in Margaret's own house, mind you.
Right.
That's balls.
She was shocked.
Balls. You're gonna call her that in her own house? That's balls.
Wrestler was like, what are these people eating?
So for that reaction alone, it made me think, Dolores, you might be kind of hiding something here, because that was a very over the top reaction.
Agreed.
To something as low key as that. And Margaret said, oh, I invited you. And Dolores and thanks for not inviting me to that. The way Dolores said, and thanks for not inviting me to that. She said, I was off the hook. Thanks for not, and then Dolores, and then Margaret roped her back into it and said, what are you talking about? You were invited. And that's
why I'm like, it was like, hey, thanks for not inviting me, because, and then
Margaret's like, you're a part of it the whole time. And then Dolores went from 0 to non-hero in Margaret's house, real quick.
100%. So yeah, it was very interesting. I'm like, there is definitely something amiss here.
And then her reaction of the aftermath of it was odd as well. She it was a whole, this temperament was just a complete change. So now putting it with that and what you guys are saying about that, I do think that there was more like what you guys are saying. So that does make sense.
Oh yeah.
And again, I love Catania. I love Dolores.
Oh, I love her. But then even her confessional was like, okay, Margaret, I gotcha. This is what you're going to do. You're going to lie to my face and you're supposed to be my friend. This is what you're doing with friendship. It was just very odd. It was an aha moment that I don't know, was misplaced. Maybe it was an aha moment that I didn't like.
Well, moving on, I think we got what that was about.
Yeah. Right. All right. So then, sorry. Then we see them at Rachel's house for a hot minute. Melissa and Danielle are there. We find out that John's fine and he's not allergic to anything. And that maybe a piece of bone marrow from the bone marrow chute went down his throat.
Why the heck were they eating bone marrow to begin with? How strange was that?
It was a
why are they
playing poker have bone marrow?
Why are they sucking alcohol luges out of a bone marrow flute?
I have a point to make. Yeah. Look how much this show has gone down the crapper. Years ago, they would have a nice card game in Crystal Arena's basement. They would have some prosciutto, some Italian bread.
No, but Brooklyn, they were trying to do that. Joe did have the steaks and the lobster. He had chefs there. He really did try to make that a good guy's night.
That's my point. Now you got chefs. Now we're bougie. Now you got lobster and steak. Give me the provolone, the mortadelle. Give me all the cold cuts from years ago. They were just normal guys having a sandwich, having a poker game. Now we got all this bougie crap, steaks and lobsters and bone marrow.
But here's what I know that this has happened to someone I know where they had a reaction to something and like had even went to urgent care. Okay, here's your EpiPen. Make sure you carry it along. Got tested for everything under the sun, and they could never recreate the same reaction from the initial. Like, because it was like, well, maybe it was fire ants, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. It's just
if I were John Fuda, I would stay away from bone marrow. And
let's just put a check on the bone marrow.
Maybe that nasty ass whatever they were drinking out, bone.
I'm not that bougie. I've never had liquor come down the bone marrow shoot into my mouth directly. I don't know if it makes it tastier. I don't know.
Bone marrow shoots and lobsters and chefs and steak. The show has taken a turn, people. Where are the gabagool, prosciutto, mortadelle?
Yeah, I mean,
down, smoking a cigar.
I thought people were being fancy when they had, an ice sculpture and you made a, shot through the flute,
Well, by the way, guys, don't come to my house. So, because our charcuterie board will be like a few pieces of craft singles and some boxed wine.
And leftover pizza.
And there you go.
And leftover
I got some craft singles and some 3-week-old salami that's been in the fridge. But hey, I think it's still good. So,
but I probably, based on the reaction, I probably wouldn't do a bone marrow shot anytime soon.
But I will tell you,
just saying.
his wife is definitely badass. I like her a lot.
Yes,
she knows how to use her words. That's for sure.
She does indeed.
Yeah, I'm not in your realm where I've had bone marrow sauce before. You must be friends with the Gorgas because I don't know what that's all about.
Never heard of it.
I don't know.
My cousin's a chef, and I don't even know that I've had heard of it. I'll have to.
God bless you for having that lifestyle. One that I'll never have. All right, so So Danielle's kind of filling both Rachel and Melissa in about the meeting at Teresa's, and none of them were believing it. And again, Gia being there came into question because why is Gia there? Why is Gia there? If Gia is now going to be a housewife in training, they should make Antonio one then too.
Antonio,
I agree.
I mean, I just think that and of course, Teresa, they're just jealous because my daughter's taking up airtime, No, it has nothing to do with jealousy. It has to do with, these aren't her friends. These are your co-stars.
Not anyone.
So, we know you're working hard for a spinoff.
She's got no place at that table. She's not on payroll. She's not of their age.
No. Gia is on payroll.
Well, then that's even more strange to me.
Right.
Gia is on payroll. Even Kim D talked about it. Kim D talked about it before she forgot that she hated Teresa. Because Kim D talked about it right before her and Teresa became good, which Kim D's have been out for that family for millennia. But now they're all okay, just like Jacqueline's okay. But Kim D she did a whole thing on her podcast or whatever, or Behind the Velvet Rope, which before they fell out, was saying Gia's making good money on her confessionals now. No, Gia's on the payroll.
That's another listen, all these things we're talking about is a big chunk of the reason why the show is failing. 320,000 views of a show that used to get 1.5 mil. There's a problem. Putting a 21-year-old in a room with a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old women putting her on payroll, it's a tip of the iceberg of why.
Well, maybe because they think, like, because Danielle and Rachel are like younger, they can bridge the gap between Gia to them. But no,
I don't see it. But okay.
I already think it's weird, honestly, that Danielle and Rachel are on with them because there is a generation gap,
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. Both Rachel and Danielle. I like them this season, and I think they bring something new and younger to the show.
Trying to get the younger viewer.
But
the truth is, it's had its day. It's over. Listen, it's not just this. Let's be honest. That 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, the Housewife franchise was at the top notch. It was doing amazing. It was everywhere, every day, all over the place. But it's definitely come down to earth now. Like, a lot of people are done with watching these women fight. Melissa and Teresa got 12 years out of a family fight. 12 years of a show. Come on. And the best line of the night, in my opinion, was when Teresa said she was okay with Jackie doing what she did, but Melissa goes, but she's not over sprinkle cookies.
Right.
I mean, come on. This woman is insane. Right away, she's okay with Jackie having the woman at her house? But Margaret's the devil?
Doesn't that sound familiar? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Like, Teresa couldn't have cared. Jackie could have had Louie's ex and Louie. Jackie could have queefed in both their mouths while it was happening, and Teresa would have said, "Oh no, it's I queef in their mouths all the time. It's okay, guys."
Listen, it's sick. You can't understand the way that woman's brain works. It's so twisted. Not only that, Jackie did things to her that I thought she would never forgive. The Gia Coke line, I thought we would never come back from that with Teresa.
I always understood why Jackie used that analogy.
I'm not saying I didn't. You and I have half a brain, but Teresa does not. So you have to wonder, like, why she allowed that to go under the. You know what I'm saying?
But Jackie, holy shit, man!
Oh, that blew me away.
What kind of comeback from Melissa is "You're a hoe"? You're a hoe. My brother married a hoe. That's all you could say after 12 years of a show is "You're a hoe."
And then Melissa's, I'm going to tell Antonia that that's what you think
of her mother.
I mean, how could, and that shows that Teresa doesn't care about even her nieces or nephews, right? Because I wouldn't,
That was interesting to say that about Antonia. It kind of goes with what you were saying about if they're going to put Gia on. And I think that I have a feeling that some of them are irritated that Gia is a part of it. I kind of feel it. I think a comment was made about it. Mm-hmm. So the Antonia comment kind of went along with, that whole thing.
Right,
she should. Go ahead.
I mean, yes, she is a grown adult, but why does she insert herself, and why is her mother allowing her to insert herself in her argument with, her aunt and her uncle? Because clearly the relationship, it boils down to, her cousins, where Gia doesn't even speak to her cousins now.
None of them, Wicked, none of them have a relationship. It's over. And Detour, Dina don't know crap. Okay?
Dina, I was waiting to jump on that.
Crap. No one knows, not even the housewives know if they have a job yet. Dina, of all people, don't know, what.
And Dina made it through the first season, a quarter of the second season, and then they brought her back for the sixth season when they fired everybody and brought Amber and the twins on, and that's the last week. Dina, and then let's not forget that Dina was not at Teresa's wedding, and she was not a bridesmaid because they fell out too.
Exactly.
But remember how Dolores was not even a bridesmaid? She took Dina's spot.
Right.
So people like Dina coming out of the woodwork and Jacqueline, Loretta, get out of here. You
continue to hug your rocks, kiss your rocks and your stones, and keep it to yourself.
Yeah, and like your Buddha and your Confucius and your Christ, it's all like wrong religions all in one room, Dina. Dina's like, here's my cross for Jesus. There's my Buddha statue. There's Confucius over there.
For a
There's
while, she was selling.
David. Like, they're all different religions, Dina. Pick one.
She was taking statues of the Blessed Mother and blinging them out for a while. And selling them in her multi-million-dollar home. Figure that one out.
Yeah, it just.
I'm sorry, I could never with Dina. Everyone loved Dina. I was like, what do you see in Dina that I do not? I just never got Dina's appeal. Sorry, I and I'm all about earthiness and love and crystals but like what huh? No, I'm sorry. And the fact that Dina was AWOL from Teresa's wedding, there was a whole big do about that they swept under the carpet, didn't they?
Right. 100%. Oh, she was there. She just didn't want to be filmed.
No, she wasn't there.
But I mean, I think that's what like the initial.
Yeah,
she
was last excuses. I don't want to be filmed, but you knew it was going to be filmed. You knew everyone from Bravo was going to be there, and I'm sure that there were certain people at Teresa's wedding that never made it to TV.
Right. I mean, if you think of Vanderpump Rules, Jax and Brittany, they were at Sheena's wedding and they managed to stay off camera the whole time. So I don't buy I don't want to be on camera, because clearly as big players in Sheena's life, they managed to avoid camera. And I'm pretty sure that if Vanderpump Rules can avoid you, so then can.
And like, I'm sure that Dina is saying here, all I need to do is bring back Jennifer and Teresa. Oh my God. If that happens, I will never watch another Housewife show ever again.
Yeah.
I will never watch another. It'll be as dead to me as 90 Day Fiance is to me now. That's how, like, nope. If they decide to bring, and then that, like, I'm really screwing myself here. But I'm telling you right now, I won't watch it again, because if they decide to bring Jennifer and Teresa back and fire everybody else.
Here's the thing. They can't bring Jennifer back if Teresa's not back, because no one on the cast will have any dealings with Jennifer. So they kind of are going to come as a package deal, I feel like. The only way Jen can get back is if Teresa's up there.
True. Did you watch on Watch What Happens Live, the guest? He was like,
great, the bartender?
No, not the actual guest, not the bartender. Yeah, the bartender was fantastic.
Ooh, Pellegrino from last night?
Yeah, he's like, oh my gosh, do these guests have to, all right, you have to.
No, because they're all intertwined with each other.
I know, but you have to say you love the episode. You have to say it got closure.
Let me give you for instance. That's like me being on Watch What Happens Live and Andy Cohen asking me about Angela. I'm like, oh yeah, she's, great. Well, but then they show a clip of like Angela doing horrible things. I'm like, yeah, but like, she goes to church.
But then right next to each other, what's he going to say? He's sitting right next to the housewife who was on the episode.
But I'm just saying, he was like, oh, this show can continue. This show needs Teresa. And it's like, you're in the minority, boo, because everyone is saying just boot. Keep the cast that you have, boot Teresa, boot Jennifer, and then bring in a couple, Now
that I've been like, kind of like looking at Bravo more than 90 Day, and following more Bravo bloggers, I look at and 8 times out of 10, everyone in the comments of every Bravo post is get rid of Teresa and Jennifer, and the show will be fixed.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that. Yes.
I mean,
if you want them to get rid of Melissa, then you're like, get rid of Melissa and keep Teresa.
And Atlanta just did that. They just shook up everything, right? Like, they kept a few, bringing Cynthia back. Ugh. Portia back, okay. Phaedra, ugh. But at least kept some, like, you know, of the oldies around. Because I, like, you know, Real Housewives of New York, have not watched one episode since they changed it, and I never will.
Yeah, no.
Unless Ramona and Bethany and, you know what I'm talking about, like, you know, the OG crew are there, I'm not going to watch it.
Have no interest.
I mean, at minimum,
have no history with them.
You're right. Why do I have to learn these people?
Not all over again. No, thank you.
No, and like, so what? You could do it again and erase it, and then I have to start with new people? No.
I would watch New York if, like, Dorinda, Countess, and Sonia. I wouldn't necessarily need Ramona.
But Wicked, it's people you have history with. That's the point.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I don't know that
Look at OC. Look what they tried to do with OC. They fired Vicky. They fired Tamara. They brought on Elizabeth Vargas and two different horrible Jen people, and like two different sets of Jen that are horrible. That other girl, that tall one that everybody hated. What was her? Naomi. What's her name?
We don't even know her name.
Yeah, and she
was that horrible.
I can't remember.
She was the.
And what did Bravo have to do? They hired back Tamara. They hired back Vicky.
Gotta pay him double. Good for you.
Noelle.
Yes,
Thank you, Liz.
Noelle. I said Naomi. Noelle. Close enough. Noelle. Like, and nobody wanted to see that. And back at BravoCon, when they first hired Tamara and they had them all on panel, you know, they were saying, you know, they were making fun of, or Shannon was like, you know, oh, you're back. And Tamara said, well, someone had to come and save the show, didn't they? And that's exactly, and you know, as much as people may hate Tamara,
but
that's exactly what she did.
This is not an OC live, but I have to say I did watch a couple episodes. And Tamara, I know you came back to save the show, but you're doing too much. You're doing too much, Tamara. Like, she's just
Tamara.
Crap.
I love her. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely a Tamara fan.
And that's why they brought back Heather. You know, that's why they realized Elizabeth Lynn Vargas one seasoner, Noelle one seasoner, poor Jen number one seasoner, and poor Jen number two, double poor seasoner. They ain't cutting it. And OC had to bring back the originals to make it work. And now we're going to see Gina Keogh back on the show. Joe from season one back on the show.
OC or Beverly Hills?
OC.
OC and even Bronwyn. I couldn't remember if she was at
Bronwyn. Yeah, Bronwyn they dropped Vicky for. Bronwyn, who had to get remarried and then turn lesbian next season to keep her on the show. As Vicky called her Brownwyn.
Greenwyn.
But you know, so if they do a full reboot, I'll never watch again, just like New York.
But on the flip side, sorry, gotta say it, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of these same people. I'm tired of Teresa. I'm tired of Louie. I'm tired of the crap. And you know what? Let me be honest for a second. I'm going to say this. Well, I think it bothers me and a lot of people I talk to that Teresa did some bad things. She went to jail. Joe's stuck in the Bahamas. She gets out of jail. She has a whole new look at life for about 10 seconds. And then she has 10 times more money and a bigger house. And she let us know she's got 6 acres in Jersey. It's like, if that was you or me, we would have nothing. We'd be starting from less than ground zero. And she just gets out and boop, she's 10 times richer than she was before. People are watching that and they're tired of seeing it because they have no real consequences for things that would destroy us regular people.
It doesn't seem like she learned a lesson.
I used to like her because she was Italian and I could understand her and she took care of her parents like I do and she's all for, but you know what? She's none of those things. She's not close to her only brother. That's all she has left from her family on the earth. She ex-nayed her cousin. She ex-nayed her brother. Her parents are gone. She married this whack job. She doesn't have any of the Italian traditions in her life. It's no more of the Jersey thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I want to ask you a serious question as parents, because I'm not a parent. With Jen, and I kind of Jen Aydin. I feel like Jen Aydin, once her kids turn 18, she'd be like, "Oh, here's Ozempic, take it."
I don't know. That's a big thing to say. I can't.
I listen. Like, I see how she acts now, and now she's a skinny mini, and she thinks her shit don't stink, and
she would do it prior to 18, 100%.
I just feel like Jen. I don't know.
I think that she would do it tomorrow because she doesn't want her children being bullied for anything. So, okay, well, yeah, you're a little, you're overweight, you're beautiful, but, let's not give them.
You guys, I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but
I don't know if John is thinking that she'll give it to them, or I'm sorry, John. I think John is also thinking she should.
No, Phil.
Are you thinking like
no, Brooklyn? No. I'm not thinking she should at all. No.
Because are you thinking that?
No. That is the absolute last thing on my mind is that she should. And God, really? You thought I would think that?
No. I finished my sentence, bro. I was thinking. Are you thinking that because she's so tiny now, as a mother of daughters who are a little bit on the bigger side, are you thinking that she's setting a bad example for them?
Yes, because she's going to say, when they turn 18, oh, by the way, kids, don't worry about being like too big now. Now that you're of age, you could take these pills and look like mommy.
So she's setting a bad example is what you're saying.
I do, because she's acting so cavalier and condescending, because Jen clearly has struggled with her weight, as everyone in that house has. Look at the food they serve.
Right.
Okay.
I think as someone who has struggled with food all of my life, it always surprises me that, if I had a child, I wouldn't want them to go through what I went through.
But okay, I get that. And again, I don't have children, but I wouldn't be feeding them whatever and eat and gorge, have unhealthy lifestyles, because when you're of age, here's this miracle pill that'll take it all away.
I have a different approach with my kids. I mean,
and again, I'm not a parent, so
especially having a girl. I mean, they're not babies anymore; they're bigger now, but because I always struggled with my weight, I did things different. When I was a kid, both my parents worked. We didn't have a lot of money. We kind of ate anything in the house. There was no one there to stop us. So when I had my kids, knowing that I didn't want them to have the same issue as me, I did things different. When my daughter was little, I would say, you don't need 5 sweets a day, baby. Sweets can give you cavities. And, and so my daughter, even now, she'll say, Mom, I already had a chocolate ice cream today. I'm not having anything else. But if she wants to, she can. No one's going to stop her. But it's for herself. You understand? My son spends hours a day in the gym. He eats right. He doesn't do carbs. Typical, young man wants to be muscular and all that crap. But I brought them to gyms. I taught them, let's go to dance and let's go here. I always incorporated doing healthy things, where in my childhood, my parents couldn't. They were working. They were trying to make ends meet. I was raising my brothers, So I, as a mom, did things different. And in turn, now that they're a little older, it worked,
But you're also
hold on, let me please. I have a really good point. Just to say what she said before I forget. And you're right, what you just said. And I've drank soda my whole life, and now my teeth are ruined because of it. I drink soda morning, noon, and night. I always have my whole 45 years of existence. And if I had a kid, I would not be putting my kid, oh yeah, drink soda all the time like I do. Daddy will fix your teeth, when you're 18, and it's all like a race. You understand what I'm saying?
Listen, my son is going to college, and I'll tell you right now, he's had soda 3 times in his life. They don't like it, because I have to tell you, I stopped drinking soda early on when they were small.
You just said soda with the hard R.
I had it. I never really had it in the house, because I knew it's empty calories. It's pure sugar. It's not good for them. I never did chocolate milk. When they had a bottle, I did 2% milk. I didn't even do whole milk.
I
So
drank Coke out of a bottle.
No,
Yes.
my kid,
Whole
my
milk,
son
whole
is literally going to
2%
college. and
people
he's
are
gonna-
gasping. Can you hear it? No, I think, and this falls kind of in line with what John says. You know, what is she teaching? Like, Brooklyn, you are teaching your children, okay, you know, like, no, you don't have 5 sweets a day. You have taught them alternatives, but
Yeah.
she's not teaching them,
Very
okay,
important to me, though. You have
diet,
no idea how
exercise,
important.
hard work.
And let me just jump in. Let's not forget that Bill Aydin is a medical doctor.
Right.
And I think it's safe to assume whenever you see Jen's kids, they don't look healthy. Does
Right.
any
And
of Jen's kids look like
Listen,
healthy?
I'm gonna
I just
stop.
don't think
I'm
she's
gonna say
teaching them
something.
anything.
I'm staying out of this one.
Her sons look fine, and her daughters look healthy. I think they might be a little chubby. They're young, whatever, but they don't look unhealthy. I'm not gonna say that the
No,
youngest
okay,
daughter,
my words are gonna get twisted. I'm not saying that
right?
they're not unhealthy or not taken care of or whatever. I'm just saying the picture that Jen Aydin wants to put out about her life with her perfect, skinny, Ozempic image and her 18 bathrooms and her house in fucking Paramus. And like, you know, the image she puts out there is not the image that's in the house. And like, okay,
the kids are going through a lot of
unhealthy. I didn't mean to say that because my words are gonna get twisted. Like, but you know, it's not what you would think Jen Aydin's kids would look like if she's trying to be the person on paper that what she portrays on the show, if that makes any better sense.
To make a point to what you're saying, the TikTok I told you about earlier, to me, that was even worse because you're showing your 11-year-old or 10-year-old daughter that you could walk in to Dolce & Gabbana, pick out a bag, and mommy buys it for $1,800. When that wasn't her life. She worked selling jewelry at a booth in a bazaar. So you're going to teach that
in Troy County.
You're going to teach that child. And she said, you could pick out too. Mommy could get us whatever we want. Now, maybe she was trying to be an ass because that's what she sounded, or she wasn't. But she walked out with the $1,800 pocketbook. And I was like, wow. What did she
and to double back on what you just said, remember the dog competition? Like when they had all the dogs over and, you know, Jen's kid had to win just because it was Jen's kid.
Right.
It's just not a good lesson. I mean, my kids want something, they got to work.
What are they learning?
You know, you have to have goals, ambitions. You have to want things in life. You have to work for things in life. So to get a 10-year-old little girl an $1,800 pocketbook, you're doing so much damage to that kid. What if she grows up and she can't afford that on her own, or she doesn't marry somebody that's a doctor, or then mommy and daddy are going to have to take care of you for the rest of your life, kid, because your expectations are high.
And they are, and they will. I mean, you think these girls are going to, like, you know, how they're pampered, that they're going to do anything with their life.
I don't care if I won the lottery tomorrow. There's not a shot in hell I'm even buying myself a pocketbook for $1,800. To me, those things are, I am not a materialistic person. Suffice to it, some believe I'm just not. I don't care about jewelry. I don't care about shoes. I don't care about bags. I like trips. Yes, I like to make memories with my family. I work hard to make memories and experience new things, but I could care less about materialistic items. I just couldn't. And I don't want my kids to ever value an item like that. I just don't. It would kill me if they grew up that way.
I also wonder if she's doing it because she knows the kids. First off, he's never there. When he is, he's in the, you know, he says he's only in the outside house, whatever the garden, whatever the heck that little thing is out there.
The pool house.
The pool house. Yes. And that he's only in there for a short period of time or whatever. But he always has been the one to escape away, to try to get away when there's too much noise when he gets home. So I wonder if a lot of what she does as a parent is compensating for that.
Possibly. But, you know, going back to the Ozempic talk, she was on a podcast or something the other day, and she was saying, and I'm so tired of everybody saying I'm on Ozempic, and I'm using it up when people need it and they can't get it. God, guys, I'm not on Ozempic. I'm on Wegovy. And she thought that was so funny, and she thought it was a joke, but she said it in front of both her daughters. It's not funny. I don't know why we're making this. If that's your thing, if you're on that, do it privately, but like, don't make a big joke about people not getting vacation in front of your kids. Okay, we get it. Like, we understand you're on it. Everybody's on it. They're all on it. Congratulations. But she made that joke in front of her kids. Like, that's the signal that they're getting.
But you don't think that Jennifer? Oh, come on. You don't think that Jennifer sees Teresa's 4 daughters all statuesque and like this, and is just foaming at the mouth like I do, foaming at the mouth, wanting her daughters to look just like Gia and Melania and Gabriella and Adriana. Like you know.
Listen, I don't know. Everybody.
Jen wants
their children are beautiful. Like, everybody, as a mom, you always think your kid is beautiful, you know. And maybe she doesn't feel that way, but do I think she's giving them that message? Absolutely.
Oh, for sure she is.
Absolutely. And I agree with that.
And then also their culture is different. It could be in how the kids are, you know what I mean? Their rate or whatever, that if a child is, larger as a kid, they'll grow out of it.
Addi, that was my culture, and it didn't work. And when I was little, my grandmother would say, somebody would say, enough, she had too many. And my grandmother would say, lasciala stare, lasciala stare. That means, like, leave her alone, let her do it. Because they just thought, that's baby fat. You need to eat. It's good to eat. Well, I
just like when I like boys. Oh, that's just a thing. It's a phase. They go through that.
Yeah, kind of. My
that's what I went through.
I'm like, well, I had 7 chicken cutlets. That's okay. It's good. Eat it, But again, I decided that's why I don't make fun of weight. That's why I don't body shame or weight shame, and I don't like it, because it affected me. And even though some people might laugh it off when they're the target, it hurts them. And it's not okay to do that. And I did get bullied and made fun of. Not bullied. That's a strong word. I was
what kind of like... Again, look at Janae's kids, and they see her mother on this weight loss drug and all the plastic surgery, and like they look at that and they say, well, when I turn 18, I can take this pill and I can lose all this weight and I could be a bitch. Like,
I don't have to do anything because I can take this pill. My daddy can give me surgery. I don't have to work for it. It can just be given to me.
Look at mommy.
We're all born in different bodies, and if you don't teach them to respect the body they're in because you're not respecting your own, she has changed so much.
Jen wasn't respecting her own body.
That's what I'm saying.
The Ozempic and the nose job and the lipo and whatever she's had done. She's a quilt.
She doesn't even look like a shadow of her old self, and neither
does not even close.
Just like, Angela. Angela looked so much more healthier when she had the meat on her.
90 Day Angela?
90 Day.
Oh, yeah.
Angela. I think Angela, at times, I'm looking at old clips of Angela.
And or not, she looks older now.
When she had the weight on her, she looked healthier. And now it's...
God knows I don't need her coming up here yelling at me again. But I will say, when she was heavier, she didn't look as wrinkled. She didn't look as old. She looks older now, older than her age.
Very much so.
And like, that's what, and granted, Angela is, got some years on Jen Aydin, right? But
also, she was told not to smoke with her facelift, and she did. She could have saved herself $10,000. Anyway.
So can I switch topics for a quick hot second?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Can we discuss the Melissa Feaster text messages that have emerged?
If you give me a link, I'll bring them up.
I cannot give you a link because that's not my forte. However, do you all know who Melissa Feaster is?
That is, okay, Melissa Feaster, for you that don't know, was Teresa's podcast host, the Namaste Bitches, their podcast that Teresa wore the shirt for like 90% of the season. That's Melissa Feaster, and they had a falling out. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Okay, so Melissa Feaster is really sweet. I never understood her relationship with Teresa because she's just a sweet blonde girl from Cali, and she doesn't fit with Teresa. She's really too nice to be with Teresa, but okay. So they had this partnership and they had a podcast together. And while they were doing their podcast, not actually physically doing it, but in the time that they were doing it, she had a miscarriage during that time. She went through a lot, let's just say that. Well, she went to the Bravo upfronts with Louie and Teresa. And the whole time she was there, she was texting Gabriella from John, what's the name of the TikTok that Gabriella ran that then they ratted on Teresa and Jen?
Melissa's old nose. One of those.
So, she was friends with Gabriella from Melissa's old nose, and the whole time she was with Teresa and Louie at the Bravo upfronts, BravoCon, sorry, she was texting her how bad it was. She literally was having a nervous breakdown. She said Teresa and Louie had her in the room, were screaming at her, yelling at her. She said Teresa never once said, "I'm sorry that you had a miscarriage." She even wrote in those text messages that were leaked that when they were on the podcast talking about the miscarriage, Teresa made a comment, "Well, God did it for a reason. Maybe you weren't meant to have another kid." She said Louie is horrible. Wow. That Louie is absolutely horrible. That they yelled at her, screamed at her, and she had the miscarriage shortly after that. It was just so eye-opening to see. She said all they care about is themselves. They're so contrived. And it was after that whole thing that Gabriella from Melissa's old nose decided to out a lot of things about Teresa and Jen poaching her.
You know, I just got outed. I don't want to bring this up. I've been making news recently on
I heard about this. Why don't you tell me
the Housewife streets? There are certain people, and I didn't want to give it any light because it's so ridiculous. If you want, I could pull up the tweets.
Pull it up, John.
Now I don't know who this Joy Rosenberg lady is. She's some crazy loon from Australia, but now I'm the reason. I'm the lead blogger that Margaret's been exposing all this stuff to. It's insane. Like, they're going back 8, and when I say 8 years ago, it's till 2016 when I was friends with Siggy. And they're saying that Margaret hired me to infiltrate Siggy's circle. And anybody who's been around, as long as I've been around, knows that is a total bold-faced lie.
Can you please show us? MW, you know.
I didn't even want to show it because I didn't want to give like these idiots like the time of day, but I'm like, that's how desperate they are to get Margaret right now, that they're dragging me into the mix from like 8 years ago, man. Like, and someone sent me a DM in the middle of the night, like a few days ago. They go, "Wow, I didn't know you were behind Jackie leading the things about Louis' ex-wife." I go, "What are you talking about?"
Who said that you were doing it? Who said that?
All right. Let me put them on the. It's just so ridiculous that they're going so hard to show that Margaret's a bad person. Like that I'm the one. I'm like, I haven't heard this shit in 8 years. And for the record, I have been friends with Margaret for 8 years now, and me and Siggy still talk. Siggy's a big Trump supporter. Me and Siggy still follow each other and talk. I don't understand any of it, but it's just weird. Hold on, I gotta take over for a second while I figure this out.
This should be very interesting, ladies.
I have no idea. He hadn't said anything about this.
MW, you know I'm not shy. I'm a talker, girl. What do you expect? I can't keep quiet. That's why I'm up here. Come on, MW. I thought you loved me too. I'm a very opinionated, you know what.
Ooh, I'm between. I'm in the middle.
Where's my wicked girl? Where'd she go?
I had to step away for a moment.
Okay, you're back.
Yes. Had to go to the ladies' room.
Yeah, so he's been like making a little waves with the RHONJ cast.
This is gonna be interesting.
Oh, there's 2 John Yates now. Okay.
Yes, he's getting ready to show his, his stuff.
I'm
The
going to be
goods.
off camera if that's okay with you guys.
No, it's
Maybe
fun.
I will too.
What'd you
Sorry,
say?
Brooklyn.
I said it's fine with me. I'm a total off-camera chick these days.
Okay. And again, I'm only giving this the light of day because it's so ridiculous. Like that, and just like clockwork, the biggest Siggy fan who turns on her starts to befriend Marge and meet with her. Or was he planted to befriend Siggy to get insider information? And when Siggy realized this, she blocked him, causing him to expose lies. Like, why? Because I've hung out with Margaret in the past? What? Like, it's so crazy. So I posted, I tweeted the one tweet I made all year about New Jersey. Here it is. And this real Teresa, no clout chasing person. This is John Yates. He was Siggy's #1 fan, and I was a giant Siggy fan. She's blocked him when she realized he was Marge's plant. I only talked to Margaret after the fallout with Siggy.
So
But
who is this
everybody knows that.
person? Who is this person saying this?
Some loser who wants to get again. I'm like, wow, thanks for the free advertisement.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was this big and bad on Bravo, but thanks.
Yeah,
right.
That's funny.
Your minds will be blown. Marge has used dirty PR tactics on her castmates from the start of the show. She faked online harassment from Siggy using John Yates, #1 on the list, man. Years ago.
Well, because you made a tweet, right?
I guess I still got it, man. I don't know what to tell you. And Shira Weiss. Shira is someone I haven't talked to in 6 years. It's so insane. But
this is how things get ran with.
So what I had to give him this. The Heather. That's my face when I see these tweets. Is right there. The Heather.
So crazy.
That's what I look like when I read these old tweets saying when they're trying to rewrite history, saying I was a plant for Margaret. Are you kidding me?
I would text that to Margaret.
Already done. So just weird. But okay, so let's get back to the show. All right, so let's get to the fight. All right, so
well, apparently we didn't see the real fight because production cleaned everything up.
And then like that part where like Teresa and Louie are together, and Louie's like, "Oh, you better get Margaret and get her son and ruin her son."
Horrible. Yeah. That shows who he really truly is. Everybody saw it.
And what did Teresa say? 0.00.
Exactly what she used to do with Joe. Not say a word.
And she's like, well, they screw up my girls, but your girls have been on the show since in utero.
And now they're getting paid. So if they want to get paid to be a cast member, they got to go down and dirty like everybody else does. If your daughter's on payroll, then guess what, my friend? It's free game.
Who's the youngest? Audriana? Who's the youngest?
Yeah. No.
Melania?
Yes.
No, not Melania.
Melania is the Audriana. It's Audrey, yes.
He has the oldest. Then there's Gabriella, Melania, and Audriana. So Audriana has been on the show. She's been in the fucking womb. That's how long she's been on The Real Housewives of New Jersey. And, you've never heard Margaret talk about her son basically at all. He's never been on. You never seen a picture of him. Even when I met Margaret the first time, and I thought I knew everything about her, and she's like, "I have a son." I'm like, "What?" Her son's got nothing to do with any of this.
Right.
Well,
And Louie to sit there and say, "I want the worst for her son," when you had Adriana in the womb filming the goddamn show. Your girls are used to it more.
We saw her
Teresa.
placenta.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, give me a break.
Well, I
like,
mean,
come on. And to all the tree huggers, like, why didn't Teresa say, "Oh no, Louie, that's too much. Her son's got nothing to do with it." She didn't stop him.
right. Well, I mean, with Dolores, she was like, well, how does this ex know all about what's going on? Well, their lives are pretty well documented. She doesn't need inside information to figure out what's going on in the world of Louie. He can look on social media and find out.
And I believe Melissa 100%. I think anybody who ever had a part of Louie's life wanted to find them and tell them what's up.
Oh, 100%.
And Melissa was putting that. I'm sure she had the niece's approval to say that because.
Well, I mean, she didn't release her name, but she just said, hi.
New Jersey's a small state, man. Like we're a small state, and
I'll be honest. If I was Melissa and I hated Teresa that much, and Teresa treated me like that, when I thought the other night, I thought about it, and I was like, Melissa could have done so much more to Teresa.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, if Melissa was a different kind of girl, if her life wasn't so good, she could have done so much more. I guarantee you, Melissa got more information on Louie than anybody else, more than Marge, more than Jackie. Guarantee you. People knew what Teresa's done for all these years.
You might be saying that in a way, but again, Melissa is Joe's wife and Joe is her brother. So
I'm saying if she was another kind of girl.
If some weird creepy guy came out of nowhere and infiltrated the fucking family, absolutely, I agree with you.
John, I'm just saying, John, I am positive in saying this. Out of all of those women, I guarantee you they would have told Melissa the most. And I guarantee you if she asked somebody to film, they would have. I'm just saying she had the most chance of making Teresa look like shit, and she never took it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
she never took it.
Because Melissa was always trying to save the family, and Melissa came in. Teresa didn't like her from jump, and that's it.
Teresa will never like anybody that Joe is ever with.
Yeah, ever.
Maybe she'll want Jen Aydin to marry her brother. I don't know. It's just weird. But the tree huggers is. Let's get to rails.
Okay.
All right. So Dolores and Jen show up first because they're throwing the party. Good, right? Everyone rolls in. Teresa is the only one that has an issue with sitting. I don't want to sit across this from her because I'm going to throw my big anxieties at Teresa and Margaret when
Did you hear her for the first time say she don't talk well and don't have good vocabulary? I said, yeah. Now you admit
it. She does all that stuff.
I'm trying to be a better person, and if I sit across from her, I'm gonna throw my foods on her or something like that.
Imagine telling Danielle not to be violent when she's the biggest table flipper.
Right? Exactly. The queen of the table flip. You're gonna say no.
That's why Melissa couldn't take it and had to say something.
So they all set it up. They're gonna, and
I mean, Jen Aydin came in hot before Danielle even said a word, her saying, I would like to discuss this with you and not be coming from a place of anger. Well, I would like that if you're able to do that.
Right. Exactly.
Oh.
That was
Like,
crap.
oh, honey, you're just asking for you to be gib smacked.
I kind of feel like Jen says the stuff she says to Danielle to get her to specifically react, to get her to be mad.
Jen sat down there with
and
like
then wants to be a victim.
her pinky up, like ready to be as condescending as possible. Jen Aydin never gave Danielle a shot. Danielle's first words were, and I wrote it down because I took copious notes here everywhere. And look at my beautiful handwriting. See, like, look, in script. The fact that they don't teach script anymore in classrooms.
Yeah, my son's don't. I write only the
like,
way you do.
They don't teach like cursive in schools anymore.
Nope.
That's a crime.
And do you know that teens have a hard time reading cursive?
Yeah, because they never saw it before.
Wicked. I had a teacher friend who asked me to read papers because they were written in script and they couldn't understand it. A teacher!
I tried to get both my sons to want the desire to want to learn it, but they would not. They didn't
and I
learn it
only write in script, like especially when you're writing fast. Like I only write because you need to connect the letters so it writes faster. Yeah. But anyway, that's a different story for another day. Right. But where are we? I'm so mad they don't teach cursive in schools anymore.
We're talking about Danielle and Jen and Danielle saying, when you have a friend like me, and Jen
that's
goes
at the end though, Wicked.
Right, but Jen Aydin goes right for the jugular.
Jugular, yeah.
I mean,
so
and then
Danielle was like, listen, Jen, I want to have a nice conversation with you. And, Jen's already been catty, right?
Right.
And Jen's like, you want my life. And, Danielle's the easiest person to pick on from that group because she has the smallest house. She's Danielle's the most.
Dolores doesn't even have a house.
Middle class housewife. The rest of us who are watching this show, like, right, Brooklyn, you've seen Danielle's house, right? That's like a regular Long Island house.
I have to say two things. First of all, Danielle's house is not as grandiose, but it's absolutely beautiful. Danielle absolutely lives in a house her house is worth about 1.5. It's not worth 10, but it's worth.
People don't understand in Long Island and New Jersey that a cape,
a fortune,
a cape house with 2 bedrooms and a basement is worth 1.5 million. And that same cape house in like the middle of nowhere, Georgia, that'll cost you $75,000.
That's what I'm saying. Her house, I'm just letting you guys know, is what right now she could sell it for anywhere between $1.5 to $2 million. So it's not a. And another thing, Dolores don't even have a house. She always lives in her boyfriend's gorgeous homes. So I don't know why they do that to her. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, and like, where's the Rolls Royce that fucking Dolores pulled up to in Margaret's? Like, when Dolores went to Margaret, she pulled up in a Rolls fucking Royce. Dolores said. I said, is that Dolores in a Rolls pulling up into Margaret's? That was a Rolls Royce.
Oh, I'll have to go back and look at that because
Cody, how much was the Rolls that Dolores pulled into at Margaret?
Let's not forget that when Dolores started her first season, she had a first of all, Dolores' house, her first season, was nowhere near as nice as Danielle's, and it was smaller. And Dolores had no job.
If it was used, it was probably around like between $250 and maybe $330. But if it was brand new, it's probably around like $490 to $580, depending on the type of motor she had in it.
Well,
so at the cheap end, if Dolores, if Dolores is pulling up in a used Rolls Royce, that the low end would be what?
Like around like 230-ish, but it depends on the mileage too. I mean, and
this is from Dolores Catania.
80,000 miles on it, like so.
Who in her first season was partners in a gym that she didn't even own. Remember her first
She
season?
drove like a Toyota Tercel her first season.
So I don't want to go there with that.
But that's Josh. The 230 is like a used one with like 80,000 miles on it. So like, and we know.
Oh, I doubt it's used too, IBB. I'm just saying, like, Dolores now is like rolling up. Like, that's the car I would expect Lisa Vanderpump to pull up in, or Heather Dubrow, to be honest with you.
Between at least 425 to maybe like 5.
Or Erica back when she was with Tom before the car went to the switchback. Like, back in those days. No.
People that pull up at Range Rovers around then, that's driving a Honda Accord like me. That's me pulling up next to Alexis.
Dolores was doing DoorDash as her first season. She's like, "Oh, hey, I'm at Margaret's. Hold on, I gotta be here quick. I gotta jump on another delivery."
Seriously, let's not forget.
And I love Dolores. I do. I love Dolores. She is I love Dolores. I love Dolores. We have a great relationship. And I don't want everybody thinking like that, and I'm proud of her, I guess. You know, you went from Tercels to, you know, Rolls Royces. If we could only live that American dream story, Dolores.
You weren't even kidding.
Next time we meet and she hugs me, I'll be like, "Get me the rolls. How do I do it?" In her ear. And I'm going to do it.
I'll take a new Lincoln. I'm fine.
But Brooklyn, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's my point. Is that Danielle has much more than Dolores had.
You're cutting out a tad. Can anybody hear me? Addi?
Yeah,
I can.
Okay.
We lost her.
All right. She'll come back. All right. So it's Jen versus Danielle. Danielle is, you know, being kind of like, I just want to say, like, you know, I'm trying to be nice about this. And you just want, you know, you dream about my lifestyle. Like, Jen gave her no humility, nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
even when she was talking about the charity event. Oh, well, you took that out of the budget because, well, you can't afford to send the private cars like Bill and I can.
Yeah, and Jen told things going back to like, well, you paid for the budget out of like, you know, the budget for like the charity thing. Like, you know, listen, I've never run a multi-stage charity event before, and I don't know if you sending cars, I would think that sending cars for your talent would be taken out of that budget. Right?
I would think.
If the budget's this and you want stars to come and be there for you to, you know, promote the charity, then the car service would be included. But also, if Jen, Aydin, and Teresa were such great, you know, people, they should have said, Danielle, don't send
use the money somewhere else.
Exactly.
Don't worry, I have my own 18 Ferrari.
Exactly.
Use the money somewhere else.
Boom, right fucking there. You know, we could drive ourselves there. This is for charity.
Right, yeah,
but
no.
Jen, Aydin, and Teresa allowed to get picked up in the limo like this with the martinis. Like, you know, they didn't have a problem with it then. So if they were such great altruistic people who really cared about the charities, they would have said, no, Danielle, we don't need a limo. We'll get there in our own car. Put that towards a charity.
Right. But then Jen's saying, well, you know, I wouldn't have taken it from the charity's budget. I would have just paid for it myself. Okay.
And again,
this was all a ruse. Danielle did nothing wrong. Jen was looking for something because Jen had a fight with somebody this season. Yeah. Then nothing was done. This was all made up. This charity thing is all BS.
And this is also Danielle's first season on the show. She's trying to, like, you know, figure out how to be like a housewife and go to events and do charities because that's what everybody else does. So Danielle's like, well, now I'm the new housewife. I need to like get involved and help people. So like they're all
Right. And I mean, her saying, you know, my 2,500 for the 25,000. I mean, I'm sure 25 and not like, not I'm sure, like $2,500 is a chunk of change. I'm sure it's not when you're worth $100 million, but you know, it is a chunk of change to us. And I don't think you were with us on that night. I was like, I like Danielle's house because like when you look at her refrigerator, she's got her kids' drawings on the refrigerator. You know, she's got stuff on her cabinet, you know, on the counter. It's not
who Danielle reminds me of? Gina.
A little bit more upscale Gina, John. A little more bougie Gina.
Well,
But
you know,
still,
let's
like,
not forget that Gina's
relatable.
also from Long Island. She's from North Babylon, Brooklyn. And, you know, Gina got thrust into this Orange County life, not knowing, like, you know, she lived in the casita. You know, I think Gina is very humbling on OC. And it really reminds me of, like, you know, and here's Danielle, you know, and Danielle has a beautiful home. But for me, like, you know, maybe because we live in New Jersey, New York, and we see these homes, it's a home that like
average.
It's
I hate average, but it's average. Right, Brooklyn? Come on.
It's average, but it's a beautiful home, but it's average.
Average.
It looks like everybody else.
It's not a mansion.
Exactly.
It's an upper middle class home.
Yeah,
and
it's a
that's
beautiful home, but it's
you know, look at Teresa's mansion and Melissa's mansion and you know Margaret. Like you know, clearly Danielle has the smallest house on the block, like much like Gina did. You know, and
or is it Jen Fessler?
No, Jen's got money too.
Well, Jen she also said, I have very close neighbors. I don't have money to buy big acreage.
Said that because Teresa said, I live on 6 acres, like, you know, whatever. So when they were in Jen Fessler's backyard, Jen was like, well, my neighbors are like, you know, I don't have 5 acres, like they're over there and they could hear us, which is common because let's not forget that New Jersey is also the most densest state in the union. Like you look up New Jersey, we are the most population. What's the word I'm looking for? Density. There's more people that live in my state in New Jersey
per square miles,
density wise, than any other state in the union. And New Jersey is the 4th smallest state here. Because New Jersey is a state where north and central is a New York suburb and south is a Philly suburb. And that's how New Jersey is. So, like, I do feel bad for Danielle because she has a beautiful home, but it's not too... It's like Garcelle's home in Beverly Hills. You see Dorit's house and Erica's, even with her being bankrupt, and Kyle's, and then you see Garcelle's at the end of a dead end. You know, it's a nice house that Garcelle has, right? But it's not in line with the essence of the other Beverly Hills castmates' houses.
Not with Kyle. Not with Kyle's house. And definitely.
Addi, what do you say, Addi? You're too quiet tonight, Addi.
I am quiet. I'm tired.
I get your point. I think they all have beautiful homes and they all have more money than me. I'll tell you that right now. But God bless. But I think that some of them are really up there, you know, and some of them not so much. I just think, I'm sorry. I know you guys are saying I talk too much. I'm sorry. But I just think that again, Dolores had half of what Danielle had, and they didn't treat her like that. So I don't know. This is all aroused. This thing with Jennifer Aydin going after Danielle is all BS. They tried to make a storyline. You know, Jen said it last year at the reunion. When they called her out, they said, why did you tell Melissa about this cheating rumor if she already knew it? And Jen said to Andy, well, that's because that's what we're supposed to do. You guys want a storyline, right? Jen's all about the storylines. It's all about the storylines.
So Jen says the thing about her husband's bitch tits.
Which,
that was just rude.
that wasn't. If she knew that her husband had the same problem, why would she do that? Why would you, if you know your husband had the same surgery? And furthermore, she knew that comment would get Jen where it hurt. That's why she said it.
No, that's where it would get Danielle where it hurt.
Sorry, Danielle.
Right.
That's why
she did it.
It's a horror.
And but Jen never gave Danielle a chance. She came in there condescending. Oh, you want my life? You want my bathrooms? You want my family? And Jen was hitting home with like, I know you cry yourself to sleep every night because you're lonely. And Danielle, I'm like, get Danielle, get it, keep going. I was like, Danielle, keep.
You know what, John? You know what? You spoke. I want to ask a question now. You mentioned earlier that she looks at Teresa's daughters and they're all so beautiful and fit, and she wants that for her girls. I have another question. What about their husbands? Like, she looks at Joe Gorga and he's muscular and he's good looking, and Paulie's rich and good looking.
And she calls him a limp dick, right?
Hold on. But you know,
I'm helping you.
She's made fun of, look, Danielle's husband is good looking as hell, let's be honest. And he's a good husband. You could tell he loves her. She makes fun of all their husbands. Why do you think her husband is the least attractive? He's got no sense of style, no sense of swag. Whatever. Marge's husband, he's old, fine. But her husband is unattractive.
Let's not forget
no personality.
That she said that she has to milk his prostate to get him away from her.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is,
let me tell you things I've never done in my 16 years of marriage with Cody. I never had to milk his prostate to get him away from me.
So my thing is, guy's always working. He's never home. He takes naps. He sleeps in the pool house. Not for nothing, he's not good looking and he has no personality.
She wants
a guy with swag, with muscles, that's going to be tough and buff, and she wants all that. And
who doesn't cheat on her?
She'll never have it.
If I walk past Bill Aydin, I wouldn't want him serving me chicken nuggets, let alone cutting into my body and doing surgery on me, just by looks.
Jack Evans, good looking. Joe Gorga. Paulie, even Frank was a big muscular guy. What's the other one? What's Danielle's name? He's a good-looking guy. John Fuda is not good-looking, but he's got that swag, that Italian, like, don't fuck.
And he's got a body on him, like it's
So I have to be. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? That man's man kind of move. Her husband don't have it. He don't have it, and she knows it.
She wants her husband to look at her the way those men look at their wives.
I agree.
Right, Wicked? And guess what? Yes. You could buy pocketbooks and Ferraris. You could have 17 bathrooms. She could live in a mansion. She could have dripping in diamonds. But the one thing she wants, she can't have. She's stuck in that marriage.
And
she can't get out.
Let's not forget that Bill cheated on Jen Aydin when she was, 8.5 months pregnant?
Yep.
Because guess what?
Delivering their fourth child.
When she
he
gets
was
home.
cheating on Jen Aydin while she was 8.5 months pregnant, about to deliver her fourth child to him, and he still couldn't take her. Okay.
I'm telling you, that's the one thing, and I know this as a woman, I could tell in the things that she does. I'm telling you that no matter how much money she has and how much she is famous and all this other crap, the one thing she'll never have is one of those men that she desperately wants.
Right. And I think that's part of her issue with, or not part, I think that is her issue with Joe Gorga. Like, dick or no dick, the way he loves his wife is something she'll never have.
Teresa told
Cody loves me on all my lies, and Cody always he supports me, and that made me think of that. Like, a lot of people know that Cody's got my back and he's my husband and we love each other. We truly love each other. Like me and Cody probably have like the weirdest relationship, marriage on earth, that like me and him spend every second of our days together because that's how much we love being in each other's presence. And, you know, people have come down on me and Cody, you know, but is it because we have something you don't have?
Sometimes it is.
Could be,
Sometimes,
Sometimes,
yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's Jin's problem, and I agree with all of that. Yes.
And again, money cannot fix that. Fame can't fix it. At the end of the day, he's not that into her. You could tell.
He's not.
Right. And he barely stands up for her. I mean, she was like, "Oh, he's afraid of me." It's like, no, he just doesn't want to be nagged by you.
Thank you. I forgot that part. Yep, 100%. She's actually said to him so many times on camera, "Defend me, stick up for me, say something."
And when Danielle was saying, "I know you cry yourself to sleep every night," that's because Jen told her that. And like, you know, and then Jen just she just had to leech on to whatever she could and grab on with those nasty nails she has. And let's get to Teresa versus Margaret, because we're at now an hour and 40 minutes and we didn't get to like really the bread of this live. All right, so they're going at each other, and then Margaret changes her story to say, like, you know, well, I only started talking to her after Laura now, which is fine. You know, which is the big thing, that Teresa and Jen were talking to Laura, who I've met and hung out with, her best friend, to get shit on Margaret. So you're going to be mad that Margaret talked to, like, Louie's ex-wife? I mean... And then,
but again, the timeline is that she didn't talk to her until after last year's reunion, not before.
So,
well, that's what she said.
And Jackie's sitting there saying nothing, and like you could see Jackie's emotions, and you know, Jackie has been wanting to get her meatball back. I say meatball, like, you know, because like Jersey's the only cast that doesn't hold a thing.
Right.
You know, there's apples, oranges, snowflakes, like what cherry blossoms, flamingos, whatever they hold. But New Jersey's like the only cast that doesn't hold like a thing. So I say they hold meatballs. It started off Italian, and that's how I always say it. But Jackie wanted her meatball back so bad that, like, you know, she's like, well, me being friends with Margaret's not cutting it. So let me try to be friends with Teresa now out of nowhere.
And no, that's coming.
And Jackie's saying nothing. And then Teresa says, that's why you lack... What am I right? Oh, and Teresa goes lowbrow and goes, that's why you F plumbers.
Right.
And to Margaret's credit, she goes, your father was a cobbler, which is so much less than like plumber.
That reminded me. I don't know if it reminded. Did you guys have an Orange County flashback at that table?
I did.
That took me back to Terry Dubrow and Mr. What's his name? Bador.
David.
You know how you contractors are. What's wrong with a contractor?
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember.
I went right back
to like, what's wrong with a plumber? Like, but like, you know, Joe Gorga is a contractor, right?
Yes.
Like a grant, you know.
How could she say that? How could she say that?
These people are like, you know, they're all blue collar work. That's what it is. And
I just couldn't believe like, that
blue collar is like when you work with your hands, and white collar is when you work in an office. Like that's the difference. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, cobblers, whoever.
You're hearing some weird grunting. It's crazy.
Accountants, you know, those are white collar people. That's the difference. But Teresa wants to make a dig. That's why you fuck plumbers. You forget who your family is, Teresa.
The fact that this woman was on the New York Times bestseller will continue to make me understand how rigged crap is. The fact that she cannot speak, that's your comeback, you fuck plumbers. Honey, your ex-husband was a contractor. Your brother's a contractor. You live in Jersey, the land of contractors. Are you okay?
Are you good?
Are you good? Are you good?
Oh my God, Brooklyn! Imagine if we were at that
Are you
table.
good? If I was at that table,
you would have said, "Teresa, are you okay?" I said, "Girl, are you good?
Are you good?" How about Dolores, like a child? Teresa, honey. Huh, she smiles like she's getting a child's attention with that big smile. She's rearing her in.
I don't, and Margaret with the win. Your dad was a cobbler, which is way lower grade than a plumber. And she wants to the cobbler, they put stones together. That's what they do.
That's why I told you earlier that Teresa is gone. The Teresa of the old days is gone. All of that is over now. When the show was something that I could watch and understand and relate to, it's gone. She's so far gone. She should go live in Tulum with her tribe of kids and a strange red husband.
My grandfather that raised me with he put windows in. That's what he did for a living. He installed windows.
What's wrong with that?
No, well, according to Teresa, everything, right?
And again,
Teresa forgets she forgets her Patterson roots, right? She wants to remember, oh, I'm from Patterson, right? I'm a gangster bitch. But then you forget that everybody in Patterson, in your world, we're all blue collar workers doing the same thing that you're now yelling at your friends' husbands about.
She's so far out of touch and out of reality. She's not that naive, silly Italian girl from years ago. It's over. When her parents went and she stopped talking to her brother, she's just out of it. You see what she looks like? My husband never watches these shows, but I was watching it at my parents' house, and my father, he's like, well, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, I'm watching Housewives. He goes, that woman is ugly. And my dad
looks rancid.
My dad never talks about women like that. I go, Dad. He goes, I'm sorry, but she's a weird looking woman.
And can you when Teresa's going at Rachel, when they were fighting back and forth, and she's like fuck, and all that. I can only see Teresa wanting to suck the youth out of Rachel's face and give that to me.
Let me tell you. Do you remember years ago what was the girl's name? She was half black, half Italian. She was on Atlanta and she read Nene like no one ever did before. What was her name? Oh my God. She was on for one season. She had
Claudia Jordan?
Claudia. You remember when she was at the table and she said to Nene
I pulled that out of here like that.
Thank you. But do you remember when she was reading Nene and everybody's like, damn, she could read Nene, because no one ever reads Nene. Well, when Rachel Fuda talks, Teresa stumbles her words. She doesn't know what to say. I love my hot dog love.
I get the pineapple.
Yeah. When Rachel Fuda
and love bubbles.
Listen to me. I see it in her face. When Rachel Fuda talks like that to Teresa, Teresa gets nervous. She doesn't know how to reply because Rachel is intimidating to Teresa. Trust me.
But now Danielle is even we'll get there in a second because
and by the way,
these are the people you sold me out for. Like someone today said, never mind.
By the way,
Danielle was like, these are the people you sold me out for? Really?
But one more thing. I got to say this. Do you know how much a plumber is an hour? I hired a plumber last month. He got $300 an hour. So let's not talk about plumbers, okay? They do damn well.
If I were to do it all over again, I wish I was mechanical. I've never been mechanical in my whole life. I can't put shit together or take it apart or fix things. That was never me. I wish I could have been a plumber or an electrician.
Right, MW. Anyway, so, you choose the wrong person sometimes. You choose the wrong person to follow.
So then Margaret drops that Jackie was the one that had Louie's ex.
Best moment ever.
Oh my God.
And
But
then
the way
Jackie says, "Oh my God, you effing liar. You're crazy. You're crazy." But notice how like Dolores, Melissa all looked at her and said, "Jackie, if you're lying, this is going to come out."
But Melissa says outside, why didn't you tell me? She goes, I just found out last week. Margaret, I would have told her right away. But you want to know something? It's not that Jackie did it that bothered me. It's how hard she went in the beginning. Are you out of your... She goes, are you guys insane? I would never. Are you guys nuts? All of a sudden she goes, I met with her. Girl.
And I'm happy it's out.
And when she walked out of that restaurant, did she not look like she was wearing a diaper on her butt?
She was walking backwards to avoid them.
God.
Walking backwards to avoid them. And like I hung out with Jackie and like, God, I cannot believe Jackie. Like if you're gonna switch teams and go from like, you know, Team Margaret to Team Teresa, but you're holding this shell in your hand that you had Louie's ex, the one that's giving you so much drama, Teresa. And then when Jackie was at Teresa's sit down, the burn meeting, and they were asking, well, Teresa, Jackie's, did you have any ideas about this at all? Because, you know, you'd be the one to know. And Jackie's like, oh, well, no, Margaret.
No.
Can you imagine? And then Teresa's big takeaway was, oh, I heard the Mets are playing earlier. You want to get a hot dog?
But then Jackie said the other day on Watch What Happens Live, oh yeah, I just talked to her today. Teresa only wants it to be who she wants it to be. If she's
just like the people who hate me.
If she has something to gain from Jackie, she will be okay with Jackie. She only would have been happy if it proved to be Marge or Melissa. That's it. That's it.
Jackie could have had a voodoo practitioner in her house and put curses on all her 4 girls. And Teresa would have been like, oh, no, it's okay because we don't like Margaret.
What about Melissa? Jen, I just want to make sure you're still okay over there and you're still human. You do realize this is messed up. Oh, no, I do. It's delayed. It's delayed.
And I love that part with Melissa because she's like, hi, Jen.
Yeah, right.
Are you like alive?
Human.
And Jen's and Melissa's like, this is major, isn't it, Jen? And Jen's like, it's very major. And Melissa's like, just making sure you feel the heartbeat because this is crazy. and Jen's like, Teresa's not going to realize this until, like, you know, delayed reaction. Why? Because she's spastic. Does she need help? Is she special?
Are you okay?
Are you good?
Are you good? Are you good?
Are you good?
Are you good?
And then Teresa sits there. Meanwhile, for years,
Teresa actually looked pissed that it was Jackie. Didn't you see that face? She was like, oh, it was you? All right. Okay. That's chill.
But she's been saying it's Margaret. It's Margaret. And yeah, has Margaret talked to the ex? Absolutely.
So what? If I could talk to the ex, I would.
Not then. And Teresa's like, oh, no, I get it. Like, you know, I was spreading rumors about her husband.
It's all good. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
And not Jen Aydin or Dolores saying, oh, this woman's shitting out diapers right now. She needs a diaper. That's, you know. And everyone's fine with it.
I said to my mom, I go, Ma, can you imagine that this woman used to be a buyer for Macy's? She goes, what was she buying? Vegetables and fruits for Macy's? I said, probably.
She was buying like the Subway lunches for lunch break.
Yeah.
And then she got them all wrong.
Yeah, she said, "No, this
guys, I was a bias. I was a bias for this
store.
Macy's place. It was like next to Stearns and Roosevelt's Fields. And I got them lunches. I got them Sabaros. I got them the bake sites from Sabaros that they asked for. I got them like a Baconator's with extra triple baconies.
She's not okay. That girl at the bar, I'd watch What Happens Live. It sounded just like her.
She was so good.
Andrea Lopez. I've been following her for a long time.
And you can tell Andy likes her because he said twice, Saturday Night Live, you need to hire this girl. On air, he said it.
She won't get hired by them because there's a whole big thing with Andy and NBC, which that's a different live for another day because they're tired of him.
Well, I think we covered a lot. We did good, girls.
Did we cover everything with the fight?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have to say, it wasn't a fight it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So, other than throwing the pitcher of water, which was glass, wasn't glass, was plastic, wasn't plastic, whatever.
Guys, I was a workers at CNN's, and I'm telling you right now is that like I'm gonna have the conclusive on what's going on, and there's not gonna be one lie, but 3 lies to do it, and you are gonna be in for an and my casket's gonna pop. Okay, so that's it.
What did she say the other day? It's an Odin.
No, she said it's an
Oh yeah, look, it's an and
an
Teresa, it's omen.
Danielle's like omen, sweetheart, omen.
Well, because it's like she wants to do like that. It's omen, sweetheart.
I have to say, Margaret took the whole season with the funeral flowers. She stole the moment from with the OG. She took the whole season with those flowers.
Oh, there will never be a more gangster move than Margaret Joseph sending those flowers to Teresa's house.
How she did, the way she did, what they were, the note. I mean, it was on point.
And now, like, why is and you know, Jennifer and Margaret are having this side talk, like, Jennifer's like, wow, it was never you. And Margaret's like, yeah, you bitch. And Jennifer's like, I can't believe it.
What is
it? Was Jackie.
The
whole time.
Bitch.
The whole time it was Jackie. The one off the radar.
But I do and don't understand why there can't be a reunion. It's not like somebody sliced somebody's cheek. Like they threw a pitcher of water. Like, why can't there be a reunion?
Right. Where
Nothing
was this
happened.
Bravo?
Right. Well, they acted like someone got hurt, someone was bleeding.
Right.
Nothing happened. Nothing.
You know what the reunion is? It's going to be them rewatching the season finale. That's the reunion.
Awful. That's awful.
It's horrible.
No reason. I've seen more violence on Atlanta at the reunion.
Oh.
So why can't I've seen Portia and Kenya. So I don't understand why there can't be a reunion. There's no real reason here, guys. There's nothing. I think they're just done. The ratings were low and they're done. That's it. 320,000 on the season before.
I'll never rewatch a reboot of New Jersey. And just like I never watch a reboot of New York, just like I never watch The Connors.
Right, same.
So I'm not going to do it. And
we'll just have to see where this goes. That's all.
And I guess everybody start watching OC and put your faith into that in Beverly Hills, because I will never cover another. I mean, I haven't covered New York since it's been off the air, and I will not cover Jersey. So I guess we have left Atlanta, and I'll also cover Atlanta because they didn't totally screw it over. And I'll cover Beverly Hills, and we're still going to cover OC because OC is like amazing.
It's really good right now, yeah.
OC is like good. So
OC is good because they set Shannon up for failure, and honestly,
Brooklyn, you got to get back on the OC wagon. It is really good.
I gotta tell you, Shannon is stronger than I thought, because if I was in her shoes right now, I would be killing a bitch. So what
Your
they're
Alexa's trying to take her dog, her husband,
It's
her
too
car, like her
no, but
life.
it's
Like,
not.
yeah.
Listen, this is not real life in any circumstance because there's no way that any one of us would be put in a room with our ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend, having dinner with her, having going to sport events with her. This is like the strangest circumstance, and I feel bad for Shannon. It's too much. It's just too much. Trying to stay sober, trying to get her life together. Her ex-husband wants more money from her she doesn't have, and dealing with this, it's awful.
MW just said 3 shows I don't watch. But okay.
watch all 3 of those.
I cover New Jersey. I used to cover New York. And I cover Beverly Hills, OC, and Atlanta. Those are my shows that I cover.
I watch all 3 of those.
And Girls Trip when apropos. So yeah. We're at the 2-hour mark. Let's end this. Thank you, ladies, for being here with me tonight. I appreciate it.
Of course.
And I don't know if we'll be live tomorrow night. We're gonna do another Thursday night potpourri.
Yeah,
that went off really well. So we'll be doing I have a new video to do with that. And I don't know where we're going to go next, but thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Brooklyn and
Sorry,
Addi.
I wasn't as chatty tonight.
It's fine.
Have our night.
There's 4 of us up here.
And you know I have a big mouth. You know me.
I love you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.